Reducing Crime on Ironton Street by Alexis Bills. I live on Ironton Street in Aurora, Colorado. Over the past 2 years, I've come to find out that it is vulnerable to crime. I've narrowed down the reasons why, and I'd say that those reasons are that the streets are not lit up. We have hardly any streetlights, and the ones that we do have are broken. All the buildings on Ironton Street are apartments/condominiums. They're high-rise, like 4 stories each, which means that there's a lot of people living in a small area. A lot of people sharing the same spaces, and a lot of people that are into different activities. In addition to that, the buildings are built in a courtyard formation. By that, I mean that the apartments are all focused towards the inner space. All the doors open up to the inner space, and there are only windows facing the backside, which is lined up to the street. So taking into account the darkness and the many people living there and the secluded streets, this makes for a perfect space for people to commit crimes. There are a few specific changes that I propose could reduce crime on Ironton Street. There are no streetlights along the east side of Ironton Street, and only 3 along the entirety of the west side of the street. Adding these lights would make the area seem less secluded and easier to surveil. It is easier for people to want to commit crimes in the darkness because they feel as if people cannot see what they are doing. If we add these lights, it'll make it seem like everybody can see what those people are up to. Police hardly ever patrol this area unless they're looking for a specific individual. Increasing patrol in this area would make it seem like the street is heavily watched and in turn reduce the amount of crime that takes place out in the open. Plus, if the police actually interact with members of the community would be more likely to report the crimes that they see taking place. They will feel like they have an actual relationship with the officers and do what they can to keep their neighborhood safe and keep those police officers safe too. Within the past year, the HOA has added security cameras within the complex and the courtyard. There are none facing the street, though. The security cameras within the complex, I've noticed, have reduced the amount of sketchy behavior that's going on. The addition of security cameras facing the street will give people the message that they are being watched. When people are being watched, they tend to behave better than when they are not. I think that the sketchy behavior will stop on the outside just like it did on the inside. Defensible Space by Oscar Newman is all about the influence of physical design. He talks about 4 main points of that design and how it affects crime. Territoriality means the space gives off the message that it's owned, basically saying that it has a clear designated purpose. This helps reduce crime because people are less likely to commit crimes in spaces that have a specific purpose. For example, they might commit a crime in an abandoned lot, but they aren't likely to do it in a place where people park their cars because they live there. Natural surveillance refers to the physical design that provides surveillance opportunities. If all the houses on the street are facing that street and there's streetlights in front of every single one, that design is providing an open space where all the neighborhood can see what's going on. Image is what gives the perception that the area is well maintained and non-isolated. Sort of like the broken windows theory, if an area is well taken care of, it'll give the perception that crime shouldn't occur in that area. It should be taken care of. The milieu is the location of space within that city. Meaning, if you're near a safe space, that should enhance the defensibility. Like if you live right across from a police station, crime probably isn't going to occur in your front yard. Newman's research applies to Ironton Street in a few main ways. The physical build of the properties on Ironton Street do not allow for natural surveillance. The street is residential on one side with car lots on the other. It does not give off an image of being well maintained or non-secluded. The courtyard feel makes the territoriality focused on the inner areas, giving the impression that the backside by the street is not owned. In addition to this, the street lights giving off no light makes the area feel secluded as well. If Ironton Street were to implement my proposed ideas, it would really reduce the likelihood of crime in that area.